Hey guys, welcome back. Before we begin our journey tonight, I wanted to ask you something small. If there is a particular era or a specific, mundane slice of history you've always been curious about, something perfect for this quiet, boring style of storytelling, please let me know in the comments below. Your ideas are what guide us to our next destination. And also, I am always wondering who is out there in the dark with me. Wherever you are in the world right now, whether you in a bustling city or a quiet town, let me know in the comments where you are watching from. It brings me a lot of peace to know that, even though we are far apart, we are all relaxing here together. Now, take a moment to find your stillness. The world outside has been loud, demanding, and fast today. But here, in this space we are creating together, time flows differently. Adjust your pillows. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, supported, safe, and at rest. Tonight we are going to leave the modern world behind. We are going to drift backward, through the centuries, peeling away the layers of history like pages in an old heavy book. We are traveling back 2,000 years, to the height of the Roman Empire. But we are not going to the marble Senate, nor the cheering Colosseum. We are going to the dust, to the road, to the quiet, grinding reality of the men who built the empire with their sweat, not just their swords. Imagine the sound of 1,000 hobnailed sandals hitting stone in unison. Crunch, crunch, crunch. A rhythm that does not change, a rhythm that invites sleep. You are no longer you. You are a legionary. And the day is just beginning. The day begins before the sun. In the darkness of the tent, the air is cold and thick with the smell of leather, oil, and sleeping men. You wake not to a bugle call, but to the rustle of movement. The routine is absolute. It is a ritual performed by thousands of men at the exact same moment, in total silence. You rise. Your body is stiff from sleeping on the hard ground, separated from the earth only by a thin mat. You begin to dress. This is not a quick process. It is an assembly. First the tunic, rough wool against your skin. It scratches slightly, a constant reminder of reality. Then the caligae, your boots. These are not comfortable shoes. They are thick leather sandals open to the air, with heavy iron studs hammered into the soles. You lace them up, wrapping the leather thongs around your shins, tight enough to stay, loose enough to allow blood to flow. Then comes the weight. First the subamalis, the padded jacket to stop the armor from chafing your skin. Then the lorica segmentata, the famous segmented plate armor. It is heavy, iron bands riveted to leather straps. You lift it over your head, it settles onto your shoulders with a heavy clank. It restricts you, it holds you, it smells of olive oil, used to keep the rust away. You are now carrying 20 pounds of iron, but you are not done. You pick up your belt, the cingulum, heavy with bronze strips that jingle softly like wind chimes when you move. You take your sword, the gladius, and strap it high on your right side. You take your dagger, the pugio, and then the luggage, the sarcina. You are not just a soldier, you are a beast of burden. On a forked stick you carry your life. A bronze cooking pot, a leather satchel with your personal items, a cloak, 3 days' worth of grain, hard wheat that you will have to grind yourself, a flask of sour wine, 2 stakes for the camp wall. When you stand up fully equipped, you are carrying nearly 70 pounds. The weight presses down on your spine, compressing you into the earth. The march begins. You step onto the road, the Roman road, the via. It stretches out to the horizon, a straight grey line of basalt blocks. There are no curves to ease the eye, just a straight, endless path. You start to walk, left, right, left, right. The sound is hypnotic. It is a wall of noise, the clattering of armor, the creaking of leather straps, the grinding of iron studs on stone. But after an hour the noise becomes a drone, a white noise that numbs the mind. The sun rises, the heat begins to build. The metal of your armor warms up, radiating heat inward. Dust rises from the feet of the 6,000 men ahead of you. a fine yellow powder that coats your tongue, your eyelashes, your skin. You taste the road. It tastes of dry earth and ancient stone. There is no battle today. There was no battle yesterday. There will likely be no battle tomorrow. There is only the march. The scenery changes so slowly it feels like a painting. A grove of olive trees passes on your left. It takes an hour for it to recede behind you. A distant hill grows larger, imperceptibly, step by step. Your world shrinks to the back of the man in front of you. The stains on his tunic, the way his shield bobs up and down with his stride. You enter a trance state. The pain in your feet becomes a dull throb, a background rhythm to your existence. Clink, step, clink, step. You are walking 20 miles today. That is roughly 30,000 steps. 30,000 times you must lift that heavy boot and place it down. 30,000 times the armor will dig into your collarbone. You stop for a brief rest. You drink posca, water mixed with vinegar to kill the bacteria. It is warm and sharp, cutting through the dust in your throat. You do not sit. If you sit, you might not get up. You lean against your shield, the scutum, that large, curved plywood door that protects you. It is heavy, too. Everything is heavy. And when the sun begins to dip, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and burnt orange, the march ends, but the work does not. You arrive at a patch of empty wilderness. In 3 hours, this must be a fortress. You put down your shield. You do not rest. You take out your dolabra, a pickaxe. You dig. You dig a ditch, 5 feet wide, 3 feet deep. The soil is hard, packed tight by the summer heat. You chop at the earth, your arms screaming from the weight of the day. You move the earth into a basket. You dump the basket to form a wall. You plant your stakes. Every night, the same camp, the same geometry, the same streets. You could find your tent blindfolded. It is a city that appears every evening and vanishes every morning. Finally, the work is done. You grind your grain between 2 stones. You make a porridge. You eat it without speaking, staring into the fire. The firelight dances on the tired faces of your tent mates. You clean your armor. You oil the iron. You check your sandals for loose nails. And then you lie down. The ground is hard, but your body is so exhausted that it feels like clouds. The sounds of the camp fade. The low murmur of 10,000 men, the neighing of horses, the crackle of dying fires. You have survived the day. The glory of Rome is just the ability to wake up and do it all again tomorrow. We leave the open road behind. We leave the sweating men, the iron armor, and the dust. We travel now into the heart of the city, into the quiet, enclosed sanctuary of a private study. It is late. The noise of Rome, the shouting vendors, the rolling wagons, the barking dogs, has finally died down to a low, distant murmur. The city sleeps, but one man does not. Shift your focus to the man sitting at the desk. This is Marcus Tullius Cicero. History remembers him as a statue, a figure of white marble, arm raised, toga draped perfectly, thundering in the Senate, saving the Republic with the power of his voice. But statues do not breathe, statues do not suffer, and statues do not lie awake at 3 a.m. staring into the flame of a lamp, paralyzed by worry. Tonight we are with the real Cicero, the human Cicero. He is tired. His eyes are red from reading by poor light. His hand is stained with ink, atramentum, made from soot and gum. Listen closely. Can you hear it? Scritch, scratch, dip, scritch, scratch, dip. It is the sound of a reed pen, the calamus moving across a sheet of papyrus. It is a dry, whispering sound. It is the sound of a man trying to order a chaotic world through the sheer force of grammar and syntax. Cicero's life was not defined by his triumphs, but by his anxiety. He lived in a time when the world he loved, the Roman Republic, was crumbling around him like an old wall, and he felt the weight of every falling stone. Imagine the texture of his night. He is writing a letter to his best friend, Atticus. He wrote thousands of them. In these letters, the great orator disappears. There is no performance here. There is only a man who feels small. I am in agony, he writes, not from a wound but from uncertainty. I do not know what to do. I do not know where to turn. He dips the pen again. The ink is thick and black. He watches it dry, turning from a glistening wetness to a dull matte. He waits for a messenger who might not come for weeks. In the ancient world, news traveled at the speed of a horse. If Caesar crossed a river in Gaul, Cicero might not know for a month. Imagine that silence, the waiting, the emptiness of not knowing if your world has already ended. He fills that silence with words. He writes books on duty, on friendship, on old age, trying to build a fortress of philosophy to protect his mind. Think of his exile. There was a time when he was banished from Rome. The city was his lifeblood. To be forced out was to be cut off from the air itself. Picture him on the coast of Greece. He is walking along a grey, rocky beach. The wind is cold. The waves crash against the shore with a relentless, lonely rhythm. He looks west, toward Italy. But he cannot go there. He describes this time not with anger, but with a deep, crushing sorrow. He stops grooming himself. He lets his beard grow wild. He wanders the countryside, a ghost in his own life. The silence of the countryside terrifies him. He craves the noise of the forum, the arguments, the friction of people. Here there is only the wind and his own dark thoughts. I am dead, he writes to his brother. I am a man who once was. But eventually, he returns. The cycle of hope and despair turns again like a heavy wheel. The republic falls, dictators rise, and Cicero, the man of words, finds himself in a world of swords. Let us move to his final moments, not as a scene of violence, but as a scene of release. It is a hot afternoon. He is old now, 63 years old, a lifetime of shouting, of writing, of worrying. He is being carried in a litter, a sedan chair, through a dense forest near the sea. The swaying of the litter is rhythmic, rocking him back and forth. He knows the soldiers are coming. He hears their footsteps on the dry leaves. For a lifetime, Cicero had been indecisive. He had vacillated between sides, terrified of making the wrong choice. But now, in the end, the indecision vanishes. He orders his slaves to stop. Put down the litter, he says softly. The motion stops. The woods are quiet. He parts the curtains of the litter. The sunlight filters through the leaves, dappling his face. He looks at the centurion approaching him. Cicero does not beg. He does not make a speech. He simply looks tired. The kind of tiredness that goes down to the bone. He leans his head out of the litter. He exposes his neck. It is a gesture of absolute surrender. It is almost a welcome. There is nothing proper about what you are doing, soldier, he says, his voice calm. But try to kill me properly. And then, the darkness. The anxiety is gone. The waiting is over. The scratching of the pen ceases. The scroll rolls shut. The candle flickers and goes out, leaving a trail of white smoke that drifts slowly up into the stillness of the room. The candle in Cicero's study is burned down. The scroll is rolled away. We leave the familiar streets of Rome, the stone roads and the marble laws. We turn our faces east, toward the sunrise, toward the edge of the map. In the ancient world, there was a line where geography ended and myth began. Beyond the Tigris River, beyond the known borders, lay a silence. This segment is about that silence. It is about 10,000 men who walked into the fog of history and never walked out. The year is 53 BC. The place is Carrhae, a dusty plain near the border of modern-day Turkey and Syria. It was here that Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome, sought glory. He found only dust. The battle was a catastrophe. But we are not here for the clash of steel. We are here for the aftermath. When the shouting stopped, when the dust settled, 10,000 Roman legionaries were taken prisoner by the Parthian Empire. They were not killed. They were captured. And then they were marched away. Imagine being one of those men. You are stripped of your standard. You are thousands of miles from the Tiber River. You are marched east, not toward home but away from it. Toward the rising sun. History records that they were sent to Margiana, an oasis city in what is now Turkmenistan. They were used as border guards, forgotten sentinels on the edge of an empire that wasn't their own. And then, silence. The historical record simply stops. It is as if a curtain was drawn. There are no letters home, no chronicles, just the wind blowing over the steppes of Central Asia. Did they die there? Did they marry locals and forget their Latin? Or did they keep walking? Fast forward 17 years. The year is 36 BC. We are now even further east. We are in the realm of the Han dynasty of China. A Chinese army is besieging a warlord in a region that is today Uzbekistan. The Chinese historians noted something strange, a detail that didn't fit. Among the enemy forces there was a unit of foot soldiers who fought differently. They did not charge wildly, they stood firm. They locked their shields together in a complex, overlapping pattern that the Chinese scribes described as fish scales. Fish scales. To a Roman eye, this is the testudo, the tortoise formation, the signature maneuver of the legion. Could it be? Could a fragment of that lost army, sold as mercenaries, wandering for 2 decades, have made it all the way to the borders of China? Let the strangeness of that image settle in your mind. Roman armor, battered and repaired with local leather, helmets dented and dull, men shouting commands in a rustic Latin dialect, fighting under the grey skies of the steppes, thousands of miles from the Mediterranean Sea. They were defeated again. But the Chinese chronicles say these strange soldiers were so disciplined, so brave, that they were not executed. They were resettled. They were moved to a dusty corner of the Gobi Desert. They founded a town. The Chinese named the county Liqian. In the ancient tongue, Liqian was a word used to describe Rome. Today, if you travel to that remote edge of the Gobi Desert, the town is still there. It is a quiet place of mud brick houses and sheep pens. The wind howls through the alleyways. But look at the faces of the villagers. Generations have passed. Empires have risen and fallen. The genes have diluted, mixed, and faded. Yet every so often a child is born with eyes as green as the Tiber, or hair that curls and glows red in the sun, or a nose that is straight and aquiline, like a profile on a Roman coin. These are the ghosts of the lost legion. Imagine the life of that old legionary in this alien land. He sits by the door of his hut. The landscape is flat and yellow. He draws a grid in the sand with a stick. He is teaching his grandson a game played with knuckle bones. He mutters words the boy doesn't understand. Via, aqua, Roma. He does not know that Rome has become an empire. He does not know Caesar is dead. He only knows that the sun sets in the west, back where he belongs. But he is too old to walk there now. He is not angry. He is simply a part of the landscape now. A Roman seed planted in the soil of the East. There is a profound peace in this disappearance. To be lost is to be free of expectations. The legion vanished, not into death, but into a new life. They were swallowed by the vastness of the world, their iron swords rusting into the red sand, their Latin prayers carried away by the Gobi wind. The wind erases everything eventually. Footprints, roads, names. Listen to the sound of that wind now. Low, hollow, constant. It sweeps across the desert, smoothing over the dunes, hiding the secrets of the past under a blanket of silence. The wind of the Gobi dies down. The dust settles. We transport ourselves back to the heart of the empire, but not to the noisy streets of Rome. We find ourselves in the countryside, amidst the rolling hills of Tuscany or the bay of Campania. We are at a latifundia, a sprawling country estate. If the life of the legionary was defined by the weight of iron, the life of the senator is defined by the weight of time. Here, there is no march. There is no urgency. There is only a slow, dripping luxury that fills every hour of the day. Imagine you are the master of this house. You walk barefoot across a floor made of millions of tiny stones, a mosaic, black and white tiles arranged in geometric mazes that catch the eye and lead it in endless circles. The stone feels smooth and cool against your skin, but beneath your feet there is a secret warmth, the hypocaust. Deep underground, far from your sight, slaves are tending a massive furnace. The heat from that fire is channeled through hollow spaces in the walls and under the floors. It is an invisible blanket of warmth. You do not see the fire, you only feel the result, a perfect regulated temperature, unaffected by the seasons outside. You move to the peristyle, the inner garden. It is a square of nature that has been tamed, manicured and enclosed within the house. The air smells of rosemary, clipped boxwood, and the sweet, heavy scent of jasmine. A fountain stands in the center, a marble boy pouring water from a jar. Drip, splash, drip. The sound echoes off the stone columns. It is the only sound in the house. The silence here is heavy. It is a silence bought with immense wealth. The servants, the household slaves, move like ghosts. They are trained to be silent. They pour wine without the bottle touching the glass. They sweep the dust before it settles. They are there, but they are not there. It is time for the bath, the thermae. This is not a quick wash. It is a ritual that consumes the afternoon. You enter the tepidarium, the warm room. You sit on a marble bench. The steam rises, softening the edges of the room. You do nothing. You simply sit and let the moisture bead on your skin. Then a servant applies oil, olive oil scented with lavender. They scrape it off with a curved metal tool called a strigil. The sensation is rhythmic, scraping away the day, scraping away the thoughts. Clean, oiled and relaxed to the point of lethargy, you move to dinner. The triclinium, the dining room. The Romans did not sit to eat, they reclined. You lie down on a couch upholstered with silk and stuffed with goose feathers. You lean on your left elbow. Your body is horizontal, halfway to sleep already. The food is brought out in courses that never seem to end, but there is a boredom even in this excess. Dormice cooked in honey. Oysters brought in barrels of seawater from the coast. Exotic birds. You eat slowly. The wine is thick and sweet, mixed with warm water and spices. It makes your limbs feel heavy. It clouds the mind. Outside the sun begins to set, painting the sky in stripes of violet and gray. The crickets begin their song. Inside the lamps are lit. Hundreds of small oil lamps casting a flickering orange glow against the painted walls. The shadows dance. You look out at your estate, the olive groves, the vineyards. It is all yours, but in this moment, with the wine warm in your stomach and the soft cushions beneath you, it feels less like a kingdom and more like a waiting room, waiting for news from Rome, waiting for the next harvest, waiting for the sun to rise. The luxury is a soft trap. It holds you in place. It demands nothing of you but to exist. And in that lack of demand, there is a profound, heavy relaxation. The world stops spinning here. There is only the cushion, the wine, and the quiet. The lamps in the villa have gone out. The fire in the Hippocaust smolders into ash. Our journey is complete. We have walked the endless stone roads with the Legionary, feeling the rhythm of the march. We have sat in the candlelight with Cicero, sharing the burden of his thoughts. We have drifted across the Gobi sands with the lost soldiers, vanishing into the wind. And we have rested in the marble silence of the senator's estate. All of these lives, all of these struggles and luxuries have faded into the past. They are gone. The weight of the armor is lifted. The worry of the letter is forgotten. The heat of the desert has cooled. And now, there is only you. You are not on a hard road. You are safe. You are not lost in a foreign land. You are home. You are not waiting for news that might never come. You are here in the present, in the quiet of your own sanctuary. Feel the comfort of your bed. It is softer than any Roman couch. Feel the air in your room. It is still. The history books are closed. The stories are told. There is nothing left to do. No marches to make. No walls to build. Just the slow, steady rhythm of your own breathing. In and out. In and out. Let the darkness wrap around you like a warm cloak. Drift away from the empire. Drift away from the world. Into the deep, timeless peace of sleep. Good night.